Sound effects.
Yeah.
Hey, we need some fireworks sound effects. We are live for episode 50 of Let Your Words Count.
Oh yeah.
Big milestone episode. Fireworks in the background. Nice. How y'all fellas doing today, man?
Doing real good.
Doing great, brother. Good. Anybody got anything new? Excited to share?
I mean, everything is good. Everything
Absolutely.
is new. Today is new.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Life begins again each new day.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
How about you, E? What's going
Just
on?
man, excited. So excited about it being episode 50. We started this podcast January 1st. It was something like either January 1st or January 2nd this year.
Really?
And yeah, we started hitting it. It was we were reluctant to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We was just like, let's just do it.
So what? Like, whose idea was it? How did it come to be?
He was out there.
Well, I was actually, and it's funny. It came to my mind about the words assume and presume,
Okay.
right? Initially, and I realized I was interchanging the words, and I realized, man, how many other words have I been messing up? And that's really how Let Your Words Count really started.
Wow.
Because I really wanted to articulate my words a little bit better and really understand the meaning before I communicate to someone.
Yeah.
And so I realized that those two words like really started the journey of Let Your Words Count. And
Okay.
I was like, man, I gotta really start letting my words count.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So the first episode was that assume and presume? Is that what y'all did?
Absolutely not at all. It was gossip.
Real nice.
Yeah, but it's funny because we haven't even tackled presume and assume yet, and I think that those will actually be valuable words to
think so, too.
Go to. So maybe one day.
Yeah.
Man. What do you think about that?
I like it.
Yeah,
I think it's great, man. I'm proud of y'all for the consistency. 50 episodes. Not even like, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of fortitude. It takes persistence. It takes resilience to keep trudging through, because I'm sure that not every time you've done this, you've always necessarily felt like it, or, things like that. So I'm happy to know that y'all have got to this point. I'm happy to see the viewer base starting to grow.
Oh, yeah.
Across different platforms. I just kind of every now and then I take a look at what it's doing on things like TikTok and Instagram, which, by the way, Let Your Words Count is LYWC.channel on all platforms for like social media. So check them out when you get a chance. But yeah, man, I'm watching the numbers go up on the shorts and things like that, man. I love to see it. I think it's an important project in the middle of all of the things that are like just noisy and cause distractions and things like that. So I'm happy to know it, man. I'm proud of y'all.
Appreciate it.
I'm honored to be a part whenever I can.
Yeah, man. Hey, man.
Yeah.
Hey, you were a guest one time, right?
That's right.
Yeah, only guest on the first time.
Well, it's funny because we've already had our show, the Mind Forge,
That's
anyway,
right.
Podcast.
Yep.
And hopefully we can get that going again, because that's more like the things that are hot topics for the day. We have discussions on that. That's what our the Mind Forge podcast YouTube channel, which that was for.
That was a good time, man.
Yeah,
I
it
enjoyed
was,
those.
man.
I enjoyed those episodes.
We used to crack up with that, man.
We got to get AV Thriller back in here.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll talk to him, man. I think he said he was willing to come back. We just got to find a time that works for him.
Yeah, we got to book him a flight to get over.
I
in
know,
this
right?
area.
I know.
Yeah.
Private jet fueled up.
Yeah.
He's a busy man right
Absolutely.
now.
Yeah.
But what we're doing here, I really believe is needed, is necessary, and we just need to learn how to communicate to one another as humans. You know what I mean? And so if we can start with the basic, with a word, then we can build sentences, and then with the sentences we can build paragraphs.
Look at that.
You know what I'm saying?
So you got language.
We getting somewhere.
Communication.
Right.
Yeah. But today, I guess I'll get it started off just to say, hey, welcome everybody. We are so glad that you found our channel. Today, while I have Gary here, he's wrapping up a couple things. I just want to say that our word today is going to be healing. And I can't wait till we start really diving into it a little bit. And I'm gonna start off with the definition, man. What do you think about it?
All right.
All right.
Definition for healing. Healing is the process of becoming sound or healthy again, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. It's the journey of mending what's been broken or hurt. So once again, healing is the process of becoming sound or healthy again, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. It's the journey of mending what's been broken or hurt. If you want to jump to the etymology.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way we can get those on that screen too?
Yeah, for sure. I think I can.
Okay.
Yeah, one of these days I'm
Yeah,
gonna do
yeah,
this
we're
because
gonna
you
do
want
it
to
right
read
now.
a couple of them right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
All right.
So the etymology, we'll work that out.
All right. Yeah. Let's talk to the staff.
Yeah. So the etymology of healing for healing is from Old English "halen," meaning to make whole, related to hale and whole. It originally referred not just to physical recovery, but to completeness and unity of the self. So the hale right there is HALE, which is interesting. I meant to look that up to really break that one down too. So the etymology once again is from the Old English halen, meaning to make whole, related to hale and whole. It originally referred not to just physical recovery, but to completeness and unity of the self.
Sweet.
All right, so and I'm gonna go ahead and break down the emotional lens. So the positive and negative side of it. Positive is renewal, peace, growth, and hope. That's for the positive side. The negative is painful, slow, uncertain, because healing often takes time and vulnerability. Why? Healing isn't instant. It involves patience, honesty, and sometimes discomfort before restoration. Okay? So I think that's pretty powerful. What do you guys think about that a little bit? What's on your mind?
I think it's the way it's starting off in my mind. It's looking for like the negative and the positive lens for it. It's kind of one of those words where it's starting after the harm has been done, right? It's starting after some kind of pain, some kind of trauma. So it's only room for upward movement in that word, right? The fact that it's coming after a low point of some trauma or pain having been endured. Healing is a process of getting better. So it follows after something negative, but it should just be all uphill. And granted, it can be a slow process. It could still, doesn't mean the pain is gone, but it means we're in the process of mending and trying to find wholeness again after the wound, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna challenge that.
For sure.
Not because I necessarily have a difference of opinion
Okay.
or a difference of perspective, but I'm interested to know how you formed yours. So you mentioned that healing is a phenomenon that takes place only after pain or trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any instance where healing is something where it's because we just learned that it's about achieving completeness and wholeness and unity of the self as well? Is that necessarily after some trauma, or could it just be, a child is born? Obviously, let me take a step back. Obviously, there's nobody that endures life without ever having any sort of trauma or issue. But just for the sake of the argument, is it necessary to have pain or trauma before becoming whole or complete or achieving that?
I wouldn't think so, right? I don't know
what that was.
In my mind, if there's no preceding trauma, we'd be using different words. Growth, wholeness, improvement can stand as they are, but I think healing implies that there's a recovery from some kind of damage, right?
I got you. Yep,
right. So I think I would split the words up and use, if we're talking about growth by itself without the preceding trauma, I would use just growth or improvement or something like that.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. That makes sense. Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
I like the idea of pointing out the time that it takes.
Yes.
You know, in terms of healing, I'm in the middle of some healing myself, as I'm sure we all probably are at different stages.
All are, for sure.
What I'm experiencing right now with the healing that I'm processing through or going through has a lot to do with, number one, my willingness rather to embrace the healing process, as opposed to just, you know, when you're a kid. When I was a kid, I don't know what anybody else's childhood was. When I was a kid, you know, if I had an injury, as long as it wasn't something that I felt like maybe needed to land me in the hospital, I would kind of just shake it off, you know. I scrape my knee. I just, you know, swipe my hand across it a few times, wipe the dirt off, wipe the gravel off, and keep playing. And those wounds, depending on how severe they might be, they don't typically heal 100% properly.
They don't.
You know, they scar a little bit more, or, you know, sometimes, unfortunately, you may get an infection and things like that. Yeah. As opposed to going through the proper process of having that wound cleaned and dressed and, you know, taken care of, that heals in an entirely different way. Both processes can be considered to be healing.
It's true.
Interesting.
But I'm thinking about my own process, you know, fast forwarding back to now, when I'm talking about things that are more emotional and spiritual. Going through that process, I've done a lot of just, you know, swiping away the dirt and just, you know, moving forward with life, pretending that healing is going to happen in the way that I need it to without me properly addressing it. Right. And I've spent a lot of time in my life doing exactly that, and it's left me with a lot of ugly scars, you know, or at least my fair share. I ain't gonna say a lot, but, you know.
I understand.
Right now, what I'm experiencing is a process where, like we spoke about on the last podcast about honesty. Right now, I'm experiencing a streak in my life where honesty is at the very, very, very pinnacle of everything that I'm doing with my life. Going forward with honesty and intention. And with that comes the proper washing, dressing, cleaning, and otherwise dealing with, you know, pain or trauma or injuries that have happened to me.
Great analogy.
And I can literally feel the healing process taking place, and it feels different. You know what I'm saying?
Explain that a little bit. I want to hear that. What makes that healing process different from the past?
Okay, so I'm gonna share
Very interesting.
I'm gonna share a couple details that I would not have shared if you didn't just ask me.
Hey, if you want to
part of the process.
No, I'm good. Anybody that knows me knows that I read and write a ton. Lately, I've had an opportunity to do a little bit more writing than I have in a while, and with that, I keep circling around to the concept of trust.
Okay.
Trust in myself, trust in God, trust in the process, trust in the plan that's been laid out. The process of healing, like we just mentioned, takes time. It requires a certain degree of vulnerability. I mean, even if we take it back to the physical, you know, when you get a boo-boo, your mom, you have to trust that your mom or your dad is not trying to hurt you when they put a little alcohol on it or something like that. Even though it stings, it's uncomfortable, which, you know, is a perfect parallel to growth and healing.
For sure.
But if you trust that process, if you trust that the alcohol is there to heal you and to clean the wound and to make sure that it heals properly, then you're able to kind of endure that pain a little bit better. And so going back to taking it back out of the natural sense, what I'm experiencing is the alcohol or what I've experienced recently has been the alcohol. It's been extremely uncomfortable. It's been painful. But I'm trusting that the process is going forward like it's supposed to be. And I'm seeing the fruit of it. There are things that I've asked for, that I've prayed for, that I have not seen, or that I didn't see with clarity for a long, long time, until I stepped into the idea of trusting.
Gotcha.
Like trusting. Like, in order to trust something, the trust falls. When you do a trust fall, there's no seatbelt, there's no airbag, there's no parachute, nothing that was going to catch you except the partner that you're, leaning into the trust fall with.
Right.
And if they happen to drop the ball, you're going to just bump your head. God is never going to let us fall. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And so learning to trust has been incredibly helpful for me. And I don't want to take up a lot of the time here, but
Go ahead, man.
leaning into that trusting it's been a wonderful experience, even though it's been uncomfortable. I talk all the time, and you and I have had this conversation about embracing discomfort, embracing it, seeking it out in some instances.
Right.
And yeah, so I hope that answers your question, E. I tried to elaborate a little
No,
bit
you're
further,
good.
but I don't really know if I hit it exactly.
I know exactly what you mean.
But I'm seeing the fruits of the seeds that I've planted, the seeds of trust. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
And it's amazing.
The reason why I wanted to bring that up is because I think it was wonderful that you were saying that it's different. The healing process is different now. Is it because now that you're older, you're recognizing the agency that's involved with the healing processes now? As when you were younger, there was fear there.
Yeah.
There's fear as a child of being.
There's still fear.
Yeah.
Courage is the willingness to move in spite of fear.
Yeah.
Trust is the exact same thing. But go ahead.
Yeah. Beautiful, man. And Steve, fear is another one of those words that I believe that we need to talk about, and we're taking our time before we come up with that word, because I think we need to knock that word out of the park.
What, fear?
Fear, so we can truly understand the impacts behind it.
That's
so
important.
when you brought up fear in this healing process, right? Those are those agents that can either slow the process down, right? There's agencies that's within the healing process that can either slow the progress or speed that progress up. The question is, within that dark zone of healing process, what are you becoming within that journey of healing? You see what I'm saying? And that's the reason why mindfulness is a part of that completeness and wholeness. You know what I'm saying? As a man thinketh, so he is. So are you a part of the speeding up healing process or the slowing it down?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of
Which choice are you making? Are you choosing to heal consciously, or are you choosing to heal unconsciously?
Yeah.
If you make a conscious decision to put the alcohol, to put the proper bandages and things like that in a natural sense, obviously I'm paralleling, but if you make that choice to heal consciously through forgiveness, through honesty, those types of virtues or behaviors, then the wound is never going to be as ugly as it would have been if you healed unconsciously, if you even heal at all.
And no, finish your thought first.
No, that's good. I'm good.
Yeah, because that was actually one of the things I wrote down on what you were saying before, and what I think is an important distinction, because when you brought up like the analogy of like a physical wound, right? And again, it's, scars all over my hands, legs, feet, whatever. It's just, when you have a physical wound, if you're eating, sleeping, drinking water, and not doing anything to get any kind of ridiculous infection for a physical wound, that's an unconscious process. Your body is naturally going to restore a physical wound.
Yes.
Unconscious, no part of, nothing that you're doing aside from maybe dressing it. But even if you don't dress it, if you're eating, sleeping, whatever, it's gonna heal up naturally.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's, and this is maybe what I want to kind of explore and ask the question, because it's initially striking me like, if we're talking about mental, emotional, or spiritual healing, I don't know if that happens unconsciously. I don't know if that happens without some kind of intent an effort to heal. Because when I think of somebody that has a grudge against somebody or whatever, if they never forgive somebody, if every time a person's name is brought up, they have some negative feeling that comes up, or some situation has hurt them and they can't get over it, and it's a source of lasting pain, I don't know, is the healing process for mental and emotional trauma, can it be done unconsciously? I think that has to have some kind of conscious awareness and a desire to move towards healing, because it's not just something that just happens naturally over time. I'm eating, I'm sleeping, not thinking about my scar, and I look at it a month later, or I forgot I had that scar is healed up. If I'm physically wounded, that's going to heal. But if I'm emotionally traumatized, I might decide or not know that healing is available for me in that regard, and I might carry that on with that wound at the same infected open state and never addressing it, never working to heal it, never working to close it, if I'm not thinking that I can, or not aware of how to do that. So that's I think the kind of where I'm kind of stuck at is I don't know if there is a way to do the spiritual and emotional without it being conscious. What do you all think?
At first blush, I agree with you 100%. I happen to be of the belief that all paths lead to healing.
Got you. Okay.
Now, that may take a very, very long time. We don't have to necessarily get into the specifics of that timeline, because we might offend people. But it could take a very long time. But I do believe that that all paths lead to healing. Having said that, though, I believe that you are. I mean, from what you've just described, I think you're right. Because no matter how long it takes, it's not going to start until a choice has been made. You know what I'm saying? The healing is not going to start until the choice has been made to heal. Like you just said, wounds will spiritual, emotional wounds will fester. Pretty much indefinitely until that choice has been made. And I think that's what you're saying. And I think you're right. I think you're right. It's impossible, or at least it seems impossible.
So I mean, you brought up time, and I would think that a person and I've seen it. I've seen people that have endured some kind of childhood trauma, and by the time they're a senior, they are over it mostly.
That's okay. I think we circling it, because I just wrote down the word callous. So yeah. A wound that doesn't properly heal, a physical wound that doesn't properly heal, will be considered, something that is calloused or keloided, or has a big ugly scar, versus a scar that is minimal because it's been properly dealt with. I mean, I'm okay with not having the full, the full definitive answer or exhaustive answer, but I think we're circling it. I think that we might be looking at a case where there may be a level of callous or a degree of callous, but then we're striking nuance, because is that considered to be healed?
So I think what we're circling around is, and this goes back to what we were talking about, the identity of the victim a couple episodes ago. This might be what I think it is. Some people choose not to heal from past traumas.
Okay.
Whether it's because it gives them the comfort of claiming some kind of special treatment, the attention that it gives them because of their pain, or what I did for a long time when I was young, holding anger as accepting it as a part of your identity, which means you have to basically stay in this damaged state, refusing to heal, because you've accepted that this is a part of your person, or something that's just a part that you carry with you. And where time might be pushing you towards healing, you might be deciding, and again, the difference with the spiritual and the emotional, I might decide not to let that go. I keep dwelling on, thinking on, coming back to whatever that past hurt or pain is, and I choose to carry that, to pick that luggage up and carry it with me every day, and take that pain with me, instead of saying I can leave this, I don't need this anymore. So maybe it's not so much the conscious and unconscious, it's that some people may endure pain and choose not to heal because they've taken on the identity of the wounded or as the victim, and that for whatever reason fits how they view themselves or fits whatever they want out of life more than trying to move towards healing. I don't know. It's a lot of nuance to it, like you said.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
It is. It is.
Ethan, where you at with it? We got comments. Bail us out.
Nice.
Right.
No, I was.
All right.
No, you guys said a lot, and I was thinking about, man. We as humans are fragile creatures. Number one. Mm-hmm. Mikey said a word that I think in his process is valuable, and we talked about it in the last episode about being honest with oneself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that healing is a dark area where it's vulnerable. You can have all types of predators within yourself, whether it's external or internal, that may or may not want you healed. The word choice that Mike brought up, I thought was pretty good as well. The unconscious part of healing, is it possible? That's a deep one. Because I was thinking about healing does happen even if you are not even thinking about it, right? From a physical standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The spiritual or conscience side, I really believe it's a choice, but that's where the word confrontation comes in. I believe that we have to learn to be with our confrontation of ourselves. Honesty should be one of the key components with recognizing who's the one at fault here. Or it's not about fault. It's about recognizing what's missing or what needs to be addressed. Mm-hmm. And if a person isn't honest enough to address that, they are a part of that side that's causing the healing not to begin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we choose in each moment.
Yeah, exactly. So it's funny how this word actually goes to a couple of other words that we talked about in the past was forgiveness. G, you talked about forgiveness, learning how to forgive. Forgiveness to me is a superpower. I say it all the time. Forgiveness is release. It's liberty. It's freedom, right? And when you think about confronting yourself, you have to really ask the question, what am I becoming, and how long do I want to be angry? How long do I actually want to be angry, and is it benefiting me? Is me staying, because you was talking about your anger as a child and different things, that all of us have our own experiences in some type of way that we probably all, if we look deep enough, we need to be healed in some areas.
Every one of us.
Every last one of us.
Absolutely.
Right? So this to me is a benefit in that. To me, it goes back to the harmony. It comes back to the harmony episode where dissonance is the valuable component to understand what harmony actually looks like when the release happens. So when you think about harmony, it's funny when you talk about harmony is a part of healing. Because when you talk about vibrations and frequencies, there's and I'm going back to the physical, but it's a spiritual side as well. Because I know that other cultures would use bells and sound bars and different things like that to create a form of atmosphere for mellowing out the moment and causing the atmosphere to be at a static place, right? Why? In order for them to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I did say static already, but calmness and completeness and mindfulness. A lot of times, these practices, and we don't do that enough. That's what we were talking about last week about the silence part. It's like really getting into that silence, because there you will find what's missing within your mindset that need to be healed, right? Or that doesn't even make sense. I think I'm jumping ahead.
No, that makes sense.
It makes sense, yeah. Right? So, as you were talking about that, is it impossible for consciously? Man, that's deep, man. I don't know. So I don't know. That's deep, man.
So there's this concept and I learned it from video games. I'm sure that obviously it's much broader, but anybody that plays video games knows about being encumbered. So in a video game, being encumbered means that you have picked up too many items to be able to move your character effectively. Okay, so that's what encumbrance is, at least from that particular standpoint. So you mentioned a few minutes ago, E, you talked about forgiveness being a release or healing being
Freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah, liberty.
And that's the first thing that came to my mind is about becoming unencumbered. So forgiveness is letting go of things that you're holding on that are literally, quite literally slowing you down, whether that's in terms of what you'd like to achieve or accomplish in life, where you would like to go spiritually, how in depth you'd like to go with your relationships, things like that. And then healing is along that exact same line. Becoming unencumbered is healing.
Very, very good.
And so, if we choose, like we keep coming back to that word, if we choose to trust in the healing process, to seek out healing, then we'll slowly start to lose those things that keep us encumbered.
That's really, really good. We got a comment right here from One Line at a Time. It says, could it be that some mistake the healing for progress enough and think they are healed? I think of it more as a process that does involve choice. Great point. Forgiveness. The forgiveness factor is hard to face for some. And I agree with that.
Can you read that again? I didn't catch that.
I'm trying my best to.
I'm trying my best.
No. It's the small screen, but I'm gonna try it again. So, could it be that some mistake the healing for progress enough, and think that they are healed, right? They said I think of it more as a process that does involve choice. Great point. Forgiveness factor hard to face for some. Or the forgiveness.
Yeah.
Now I agree with that.
Yeah, I
absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess I'm hoping that this is what you meant with that comment, that some people go through, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I think what they're trying to point out is that there are people who experience a little bit of the process and then kind of stop. Or they decide, okay, well, I've healed enough, or I've gotten over this initial, the fact that this is making me cry every day, and now that I'm past that, I'll feel healed. You know what I mean? And I can move on in life and wreck somebody else's life because I'm not really healed.
I love it. I love it.
And that's a good point. If that's what that comment was referring to. I think that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Which brings the question: how does one know when they've been truly healed from
very good.
Some sort of injury or trauma?
They said yes.
Oh, that's what. Okay, cool.
Yeah, go ahead with your question.
Yeah. So how do we heal? I mean, how do we heal? How do we know? I guess that first question is a good question too. But how does one know when we've reached the level of healing that would consider us to be quote unquote healed? Where does the answer come from?
I think.
What does that look like?
G, go ahead.
Go ahead, bro.
You sure? Okay. So I think when confrontation comes, it doesn't affect you. With that same person that caused harm, or situations that caused harm, it brings a memory, but that memory doesn't do anything to you. You are able to. Love can still be a part of your being, without feeling tore down. Even when you see the wounds, you allow those wounds to be a point of growth. You allow looking at those wounds to say, hey, that's what I used to be. I'm not that person anymore. I think that when you know that you're healed is the things that would cause a disruption, cause a headache, and a response in a negative way is no longer there. You've grown out of that. You know, you're able to approach a situation where you will share wisdom instead of showing anything else other than love. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be quiet and I'll give it to G. Meaning that I can actually absorb your burden now. At first, at one point, it was painful, but now I can turn that pain into something that can cause all of us to grow. You know, the scripture talks about, you know, carrying the burdens of the weak. You know, let the weak say that I'm strong, and let the strong bear the infirmities of the weak. Right. I think it's kind of one of those things, right? You talked about earlier about dropping those things off the freedom. The scripture talks about you know, let loose the weights and the sins that so easily beset us. It's like I'm not going to be encumbered by things that's not causing value.
Yeah.
And so now you can look at those past traumas as value, which is hard to do. You know what I'm saying? You could look at those past strifes or different things like that, those anger issues that you had. You look at those like a catapult and a catalyst for change now, instead of me feeling like I'm validated or a victim or different things like that, and using that as a moment to stay there so I can feel justified in this moment. No, I don't want you to feel like that. I don't want you to experience what I experienced. You might need that, but here, I got a better path for you. You know what I'm saying? Let me share this way for you instead. So that's kind of how I look at what healing looks like, when you're not burdened by other people's issues. You're able to help them grow out of that situation because you have the experience to help them along the way. So that's kind of like how I look at it. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Gee, anybody else?
Yeah. So I'm kind of looking at this as like, we were kind of going, you gave the analogy earlier of sometimes you have a wound that it's clean, sometimes you have one that's dirty, right? You can bump your elbow on a table and it cuts you and it's just bleeding. There's nothing inside of it. I've had to have stitches 2 different times where the wound came from falling in gravel, and one was on my knee and one was above my eyebrow. And I remember the doctor having to take a scalpel and scraping gravel out of both of those scars. So that was painful. And to your question, how do you know when you're healed? Both of those scars, even after the scars had closed up, the wound is gone, the stitches are out and everything else, and you touch it, but it's still kind of tender. It hasn't healed fully because when you touch it, there's still pain there, right? So if we take that analogy from the physical into real life, I think the way into non-physical, I know I'm healed when I can revisit or look back on that event and I don't have pain anymore.
Exactly.
If I can go
100%.
back into that event, and instead of looking at that event as, oh, I'm this scarred person, no, I'm a person with a scar, right? I went through this trauma, I went through this thing, but I am something more because of what I went through. So when I can go back and revisit something without pain, without anger, I can keep control, and I can find something positive to take from that traumatic event. Those are, at least to me, because I think this is probably going to be different for everybody, but to me, those are the signs that I've healed. I can look back on something as, hey, this was painful, but I took something positive from it.
Exactly.
I grew from it. I transformed into something more because of that event, and I can go back and look on it and appreciate that painful thing because of how it transformed me, changed me, upgraded me, or whatever, and not look at it as this painful, traumatizing thing that I can never recover from. Yeah, so that's kind of in my mind where it goes.
So
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I agree. I have a point that I want to make, but I want to go back to what you were saying a little bit ago. So for anybody in the audience that doesn't know, Gary's my older cousin. He grew up like a big brother to me. And when you got that scar on your forehead, on your eyebrow, when I was a kid, I wanted to be like Gary so bad that I used to take my father's clippers and cut that exact scar in my eyebrow. My father used to be so mad. I used to cut that chunk of my eyebrow and go to school.
People used to think I cut it in there myself.
Yeah. Okay, all right, that's enough of that.
That's funny.
There's your flowers for today. All right, so back to what Ethan was saying. So actually, what both of you are saying. So like, it seems like right now our consensus is the evidence of having healed from something is losing the whatever trigger comes along with that thought or that experience, right?
Yep.
Is that fair so
fair.
far?
That's fair.
Okay, so my question then is, can you be healed? And I smiled when you mentioned your physical scars because I'll go to that in a second. But can you be healed and still have those triggers? Even if so, my question is, I can have a trigger and be in control of my emotions and be in control of my responses. Would that be considered healed, or is that not quite healed yet? And that's the first thing. The second thing is, or the reason why I have that question in particular is because I've had surgery in my life, and where those wounds are, the sense of physical touch on my skin is different than anywhere else on my body.
Scar tissue.
Exactly. That scar tissue has a completely different sensation. And in some instances, it's even more sensitive because it feels like the nerve endings may be a little closer or something. I don't know.
Yep.
But my point is that those scars technically have healed. Yet I still feel it if you do like this or, kind of poke at it, I'll feel it. And it feels way different than just poking, just prodding anywhere else on my body. And so my question is, can we be considered to be healed with our triggers as long as we are, like I said, in control of emotions and responses?
Healing is variable, and it's a process. There is no black and white. You cross over this threshold and all of a sudden it's done. Like you said, I'm healed, the scar is closed, but there's still scar tissue there. There's extra sensitivity there. Healing means I've recovered enough that I can go on functioning, and I'm choosing to remember that point of pain and grow, to take something from it. Complete healing, like you said, in some cases it doesn't happen, and that's where I think that true healing means you've integrated what that pain is. I've accepted that I have this scar now that's going to be there, that's going to be sensitive, but I'm not going to be defined by it. I'm not going to be constrained by it. I'm not going to be limited by it. I'm accepting that it's there. I'm accepting that it's happened. And even if it's still a little bit tender, I can acknowledge, it's still tender. It still feels a little bit different. I have a finger that I broke that I still to this day can't bend it all the way, and it kind of looks funky or whatever, right? And this was 20-something years ago. So it's healed, but it's not the same, right? It's never going to be the same. It's going to always have this scar. It's never going to bend all the way. This little funky looking finger, y'all can see still sticking up right here. You know what I mean? I broke it, and it's never going to go back to the way it was. But I don't sit up there and baby and think about it every day and walk around with it cradled and in a little gauze thing. It's 20-something years ago. It's there. The scar is there. I remember how it happened, what it came from. It's never going to be the same, but I'm not limited and I'm not defined by whatever that scar was. So it's a process. And the goal, I think, is to try to get to the point that you can, as much as possible, look back at your painful events. And again, and this is something that, again, I'm knocking on 50, not too far away, right? But this is something this is something that in the past couple of years, I've been able to kind of find that clarity of looking back on painful events and deciding, right? Because realizing things that, and we brought up forgiveness earlier, going back to the forgiveness episode if you haven't seen it, because we brought up there that the important part of forgiveness is not you letting someone else off the hook. It's to your point of encumbrance. It's me being able to let go of whatever that weight, that luggage is I'm dragging behind me every day that I don't have to be dragging with me anymore. So it's for your benefit. And it's the same thing with healing. It's been within the past couple of years that I've realized, look back on those painful events, and instead of looking back on them with resentment and anger because it was a painful thing and I didn't like it, at the same time, you would not be who you are today if it hadn't been for that pain that you were going through. Now, if you hate yourself today, and you know what I mean, you kind of tie it back to things like that, you got other work to do. But if you can appreciate who you are and you respect and acknowledge and are proud of who you are, then those painful events you've gone through have helped shape and mold you into the person that you are today. If it wasn't for those traumas you went through, you wouldn't have the experience to talk about it to someone else that's going through the same thing to help them heal. You wouldn't have as broad of a range of life experiences to be able to help and educate or heal other people. So we have to integrate and accept that it's a part of who we are. It doesn't necessarily mean full, complete. It's not restoration. It's not going back to the way I was before the injury happened. It's acknowledging that the injury happened and I'm changed, I'm transformed, I'm something more.
Yeah.
And now I'm ready to go on after that.
Yes,
right?
very good.
Yes.
So
I agree.
No, that's very
100%.
good.
So essentially healing is a, like you said, it's a process. And you know, there are varying degrees to what could be called or considered healed. Yeah, I agree. That sits really close to how I've, you know, defined healing for myself, because there are some things where, to Ethan's point, when I have when something that used to be a trigger is no longer a trigger.
Right.
And then there are some things that trigger me, and you know, some things I ain't quite, you know, I haven't got that. I haven't mastered it.
There you go.
And then there
Yet.
are some,
Yeah,
exactly.
there you go.
I haven't
Yeah.
mastered it quite yet.
Yep.
And then there are some things that, you know, are triggers that I still have that I am in complete control of. And each of those things are in varying degrees of being healed. Yeah.
You know what that means?
What does that mean?
You're human.
That's right. That's right.
Because we're all going to be there. Again, this is not about beating up on anybody or shaming somebody. You should be, you know, you should be able to take your pain and your trauma and your whatever else. And no, it's not that. You know what I mean? It's just like, this is for your own well-being, for your mental wellness, your mental health and everything else. It's these things are natural. You know, we're talking about, we've all been scarred. We've all been hurt. We've all been done wrong by somebody, whatever. This is life. And again, it's painful. We've all gone through it, but let's try to find that way to get through and get to the other side. And again, move on as people that have been scarred, that have been hurt, but there's still a lot of life to live out there in front of you, right? So we've been through those things, and it's just, it all means we're human. We all are working through.
That's right.
We all are finding things we got to still heal from. We are all finding triggers that we still have and trying to move on and recover from those. That's the
right.
natural process, right?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
true. That's so true. There was a comment here by Sue. Sometimes you have to set boundaries until you have healed.
Absolutely.
You can make those boundaries permanent too,
Yeah.
as you move
Yeah.
through the process.
That's
Yeah.
right. Sometimes those boundaries last even after healing.
Yeah.
Because you know, just because we've mended our I don't, you know, hate somebody or I've decided to forgive doesn't mean that I need to invite that type of energy or whatever back into my life or my close circle,
For sure.
however you want to describe it.
For sure.
Yeah. There's another comment here. She says, "Great point. Not much use in regretting what pains you already endured. You're stronger because of them." That's absolutely.
That's exactly right. I had a conversation like 2 days ago about regret. And I was talking with somebody, and we were just kind of going over, you know, just some life challenges that we've both experienced, and the conclusion to that conversation was like, you know, I don't regret any of it, not even a single moment, because without the good and the bad, so to speak, the things that I embrace and the things that I, you know, that were hard or challenging or painful or whatever, without each of those things, the person that I am today doesn't exist.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
for better or worse, the person that I am today wouldn't exist without all of those things. And I feel like the amount of growth that I've been able to experience, and I think this is, you know, goes for each of us, the amount of growth that I've been able to experience is a product in some way, or at least to some degree, from those painful moments. I had Chick-fil-A right before we got on the air. So, yeah, that was a little Chick-fil-A sauce. Go ahead.
You know, but I think too, because like we've all played sports and been in some form of sport or weight room or whatever, you know, as far as the three of us go. And again, I think it's always important to kind of find these analogies in real life physical stuff that we can kind of carry over. And it just, if you want to explain like the process of lifting weights and how muscles grow from lifting weights, right? That's a healing response. You're breaking muscle fibers, and when those muscle fibers realize, having been torn, say, okay, we got to grow back and create more bonds, more connections, and be stronger, and that muscle grows back together thicker. That's what the process of lifting weights is, and it's what we look at it as is just getting stronger and getting bigger from lifting weights. You are physically breaking muscle fibers, and when they grow back together bigger, and that's how your body increases muscle mass. So it's healing. But that healing is signified, you can see it physically, by a person that's stronger than they were before they were lifting that weight. It's the exact same thing when you're going through mental, emotional, spiritual trauma. When you endure it and you make a decision that I'm going to endure it and going to heal from it and going to integrate that pain, that lesson, and go on and be better, that's you getting, building your muscles up spiritually, emotionally, mentally, or whatever, to as a show that you've been through that thing, and to make you more ready to do more. Because once you start lifting, you put up 100 pounds a few times, okay, I can go to 125 and go to 150. The bigger you get, the more you're able to carry. The stronger you get, the more practice you've had at that, the more you're capable and prepared to face stronger challenges going forward. That's because of what you've gone through in your past. Right?
That's right. And that's exactly the reason why I say all the time that we should be not only embracing, but seeking out things that make us uncomfortable, things that take us out of our comfort zone, things that are challenging and difficult.
One of my growth happens.
That's exactly right. Yeah. One of my prayers is to begin to love hard work, to begin to love things that challenge me. Because like you said, those are the only things that encourage growth are things that make us uncomfortable, period.
Facts.
Man, that's interesting. I was thinking about, you were talking about, unconsciously or subconsciously healing. And I was thinking about when you were using the example of lifting weights and how those fibers, those muscles are tearing and then they regenerate stronger. And I was thinking about there are jobs that we do that you unintentionally get stronger, and you're not even thinking about getting stronger. It's just a part of the process.
Right.
Where you're, throwing bags of hay, and different things like that in a farm, working boys. In the farm boys, those some big boys, right? So there's some big boys, man. I'm telling you, man. You go like to Iowa, whatnot, man, and those guys, that's what they do.
Brock Lesnar all day.
Exactly.
Be in the weight room, be out in this farm.
Man, I'm telling you, man. Them bales of hay.
Big boys. The way he said it.
He's so funny. Yeah. Hey, it's the truth, man. Hey,
sound like Herbert off of Family Guy.
Man, hey,
popsicle.
It's no lie, man. I tell you. But what I'm saying is I think you guys understand what I'm.
Yeah.
It's amazing that the things that what I'm trying to get to is a point is to not avoid the impact of the pain. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
There is a process that happens, is an inherent process of our makeup that causes trauma, pain, and different things like that when you're not even thinking about it. You see what I'm saying?
Say that one more time, me.
There's a part of our growth where it's either trauma or pain is a part of our growth, and we're not even thinking about it. You see what I'm saying? That's kind of that's why I was using the example of like, the guys, a part of their job, even a construction worker, man. If you look at guys working on the road, man, they throwing. I look at the guys like picking up our garbage, and it's
some big boys.
You couldn't resist.
He was waiting for his moment.
He was waiting for that, man. He's so silly.
I love it.
So you look at those guys like picking up the trash and different things like that, you know what I mean, and tossing it in the truck and whatnot. Like those guys are unintentionally, right? They're not even thinking about it, right? It's just what they do. And some guys are thin. They're not even big guys. It's just that they've been doing it over and over and over again, and then they mastered how to pick up the weights. They've mastered how to understand the impacts and the obstacles or whatnot, not even thinking about, that this is actually benefiting them. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of times, are we approaching situations wrong at times? And I'm trying to get my thought out, be a little bit more clear with my thought, because can you be not gullible, but absent-minded, where you're not even looking for trauma or issues, but things are coming your way, you're being impacted, but everybody else sees that you should be hurting, you should feel the impact, but you are like, whatever. So you understand what I'm saying? You get, so I'm getting to a point, and this, I think I'm just speaking on myself, that I'm not going to allow someone to give me information so I can be mad the way they think I should be mad. Just because you want to have a pity party, don't share your hurt, your harm to me so you feel justified in your hurt and your harm. Just because I don't want to feel, it's not about me feeling anything. It's me not necessarily knowing fully, but don't invite me into your pain.
That's the boundaries that one of our commenters just mentioned.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what you just described as a boundary.
Yep. I think I probably put a little bit more detail to it, right? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that like what you were saying is important, because you pointed out, like, the people who do like garbage collection and essentially people who do labor jobs that have a high repetitive nature.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm trying to say. And it's interesting that you bring those up, because I think that directly relates to the healing process. That's considered to be, they get stronger because of reps and muscle memory. The more times you do one particular act, even if it's with something heavy or cumbersome, you're able to eventually do that process more efficiently.
Yep.
Maybe not even faster, but more efficiently. You learn which your muscles start to remember the process and the movements and things like that. And just like it is in the natural, it is in the spiritual, where healing is something that we're doing at all times from something or other.
It should be.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. If we're doing it with any level of awareness, then we will be constantly making those moves to heal. After having gone through the process with that level of honesty that we're talking about, the level of intention that we're talking about, I think it makes you more efficient when it comes to healing from certain things. So, for instance, there are people who have, let's say, suffered heartbreak. Most people go through, especially, and I hate to say this because it makes me sound old, but especially in the day and age that we're living in, people, back in my day, it wasn't like that. Back in the 1900s.
I love it.
But we live in a world where heartbreak is a very common thing. Disappointment is a very common thing, and not that it ever wasn't necessarily common, but
it's not more visible these days.
it seems to be more visible. There you go. That's a really good way to put it. It seems to be more visible, and it seems to be something where people experience it almost back to back.
There's trauma bonding, a lot of it too, though, with social media.
Oh man, bro, we could do a whole episode on that. Oh my goodness, that's a really good point you just made. When a person has started to have those experiences, and when the healing process begins, if they start to do that with intention, and they start to heal consciously through things like honesty and openness and transparency, and very often therapy and things like that. Getting over those heartbreaks first of all, you probably won't encounter as many. But getting over them whenever they do come will begin to be something that, and this is just based on theory, you know, I'm not a doctor or anything, but getting over them will eventually start to be something that you can, you know, do a little more efficiently. You know, pain is still pain.
Yeah.
But once you've gotten through the hurt of, you know, a particular thing, and you've been able to manage those triggers, and you've been able to analyze the situation to figure out how you got there, how everything kind of fell down, and the process to rebuild yourself. Right. Once you've experienced that, you know, a couple times, a few times, whatever, if you do it with that honesty and intention, I think that over time you start to be able to manage other things that are painful way more efficiently.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Great point.
100%. Very good point.
Yep.
You know, I was thinking about this would be my last point, if you guys still want to talk. But I was thinking about containment. I was thinking about, because we're in the automotive industry and whatnot, and when there's a defect, pain, right? When there's a defect that's found, it causes a lot of disruption in the production process. Okay. And what happens most of the time, you have to put containment in place. You got to wrap your arms around the situation. You have to grasp the problem, grasp the situation. And I was thinking about, okay, what we want at the end of each process, a product that's full of quality, guaranteed, right? And so when I was thinking about healing, in this process, you want to ask the question in my mind, this just in my mind, as you just want to feel better. Can I feel better? Right? But the pain don't go away. But can I still feel better even with the pain? What is the containment that I can put in place? You know what I'm saying? For the time being. Because because sometimes the containment, it becomes your corrective action. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
The Band-Aid actually becomes your corrective action, and it has to stay there. That was never part of the process. It was never part of the plan, but it ends up becoming an interim in the process, right? So I was thinking about, what if this pain doesn't never go away? We're going back to the conversation you had. So what is the mindset that I want to generate? Who I want to become with this pain continues constantly, is burdening me and different things like that. So I was just thinking about that a little bit as well. I have a further thought that's in my head, but that's kind of what I wanted to explore a little bit further as well. I think we touched on it a little bit, but not all the way. Do you neglect it? Do you ignore it? That's something that I was thinking about. Do you just ignore? Do you teach yourself how to ignore the pain? You know what I'm saying? Do you teach yourself? Because you talked about, like, in your eyebrow is tender or whatnot. Are you ignoring it? Do you ignore it?
Right.
Even though you feel that pain still there, it exists, right? Is it creating a form of awareness now? Because I'm telling you right now, once that containment is put in place, there is awareness because a defect happened. There's a defect that truly happened, right? So if you're impacted, it causes so many other resources to happen. I'm gonna just use this as an example, man. Fasting. Fasting is painful, especially at an extended amount of time.
Right.
But it's so beneficial for the body.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you start to fast, your body is actually healing itself in the process, right? Because now it doesn't have to focus on digesting food. It can start focusing on other parts of the body to start healing. But you are being impacted because you are neglecting the substance that you need for it to survive. You know what I'm saying? So I know I said quite a bit right there, but I was just thinking about neglection. I was thinking about the containment. What if the pain doesn't go away? You know, what is the apparatus? How are we supposed to think in the confines of this pain? You know, and that's kind of where I don't know if I have a full conclusion of the thought, but I was just thinking about that, and the fasting was a part of the process, because any way it goes, if you stop your normal process, everybody, because even a baby cries, you got to feed a baby. The baby can't fast. You know what I'm saying? You got to feed that baby. But us, we're knowledgeable, we're aware, we're built with awareness, or we're supposed to be built with awareness. When you start fasting, you realize that I'm gonna push my plate back Why? I want to be intentional with it. And so when I stop digesting food, so I can start healing in other areas. It's just amazing to me that we say neglect is a bad thing, but sometimes neglect is a part of the process for other things to start working. It's just amazing too.
It is.
So I'm just shut up right now. Anybody have
No, you good. I think the conscious awareness point is a good one. My I think it's my dad I've talked to a few times about this, but I was in a tournament one time, and what the thing that taught me the right way this was like a taekwondo tournament back in the day, and what the way I learned to remember to protect your head is I got kicked in the head, right? And I got kicked in the head and wasn't guarding, wasn't expecting it, and got rattled, and it was that. There was that blow to the head that made me remember, gee, you got to put your arm up. You got to be watching for a high kick to come up and protect your head. So it's like what I'm getting at is taking what would have been a negative experience, a painful experience, and instead of walking around, oh, I'm the person that got kicked in the head. No, I'm the person that learned to defend myself because I got kicked in the head and choose to look back at that event. Still gets rattled from getting that kick.
I was just about to say that.
From going through that event and saying that, okay, I've already gone through the negative thing. I've already experienced this traumatizing, painful, whatever. If I'm going to go through and have this memory of this negative thing, I for me personally, and again, I know everybody's walk is not going to be the same way. It's not going to be the same triggers and everything else for people. But for me, it's a determination. If I'm going to walk around with that memory of that negative thing, I am going to determine to pull something positive from it. So even when it's that I touch it and it's tender, I'm going to think back on, oh, this is tender, but this is tender because this taught me whatever it is. You know what I mean? 100%. Find something to pull from it so that you're not just change the relationship 100%. With that past trauma, with that negative thing. Because, and again, this is not, please do not take this to mean avoid it. Don't, fail to confront it for what it is. Address it, confront it, face it, be honest with yourself about what it is you went through. But then after you've processed that and you felt the pain and it's still tender, make that decision that I need to find something positive, something that, I went through this thing, but I'm not the person I was before this event. I am who I am today because of that event. Find the positive thing to take from that so you can change your relationship with that negative memory that, this thing made me stronger. And that point about strength is also like, last thing I'm going to say, before I pass the mic on is don't let the fact that you've been hurt, the fact that you're healing, the fact that you've been through some trauma does not take away from your strength. It does not mean you're not strong. You are strong because of the things you've gone through. Having gone through trauma, being a person that's healing does not mean that you don't have strength. It builds your strength up. It builds character up, right? I'm done.
I think that's well said from both of you guys. Ethan, you mentioned, and help me if I've got this wrong, but I think your question was, how do we approach pain in order to begin healing? Y'all know me. I'm looking for a practical approach anytime we, kind of reach one of these topics.
Yes.
So then that's my question. How do we approach pain in order to begin healing? Obviously, most of us have a pretty good understanding of how to do that in the physical. But when it comes to spiritual, emotional things, what is the very first step? Obviously, you can't climb the mountain, you can't reach the destination without taking the first step. What does that first step look like?
You want to go, G, or me?
I think for me it's the acknowledging, like we said, don't avoid.
I think so
right?
too.
Okay.
Acknowledging that pain has happened, some trauma has happened, acknowledging that, okay, this thing hurt me. And that's where I think a lot of guys fail to start that healing process, is because you think that you have to have this persona that says I can't be harmed, I can't be, hurt in any kind of way, right? Can't be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And without acknowledging and confronting the fact that, okay, that hurt a little bit, you know what I mean? You're never able to process it, and you go your life carrying this trauma that results in this pent up aggression, resentment, and anger because you haven't processed it. You haven't dealt with the pain. You haven't dealt with the trauma, with the hurt to even begin the healing process. I think you have to acknowledge that pain was done, because if you can't acknowledge that I've been hurt, you're not even, what are you going to base your healing journey on? You know what I mean? You're not going to confront, and it's not going to process that I'm on a healing journey because I went through this thing that was painful. If you say I'd never been hurt, I'd never been, caused any pain at all. So I think that honesty, we talked about confronting it is the first step to me.
Yeah, I was thinking, and I'm gonna just make this quick point. I think pain is inevitable. It's a part of our life, right? And I think that going back to confrontation and being honest, I think those are the two key valuable components when pain is the function that is heading our direction or whatnot. The question that I constantly say all the time, and I say it again, is what are you becoming in the process and after the process? It's like, what do you see your ideal self after this pain is done? You see what I'm saying? And that's kind of what it's not the pain that's the issue. It's what comes after it. It's the response. What am I becoming in the process? And so the pain, are you going to look at it as that mean old thing? Right, Gary just talked about he got popped in the head with a kick, right? But it taught him a lesson. And I'm gonna say this: one of the things it says, healing is a journey that honors both the wound and the wisdom that comes from it. I love that, man. So when you look at pain, you have to look at what are you gathering, what are you growing forward from. You can't avoid it. We're all gonna, it's an inevitable part of our life. Yeah. So that's what I'll say. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, both of you kind of just, it's the same thing that I would say. Yeah. Approaching it with honesty, not downplaying it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So you used the phrase that I wrote down, that I think is, it was spot on. For the way men specifically in our society approach our pain or things that bother us. You said you have to acknowledge, it hurt a little bit, which is cool. But the fact of the matter is that it might have hurt a lot.
Right.
Facts. Yes. It might have hurt a whole lot. It might have broke me down completely.
Yep.
And without being honest enough to say, not only did it hurt, but it brought me to my knees, or it made me feel like I couldn't go on, or it impacted me in a way that I've never been hurt before. Thinking about it in those terms, if that's the actual case,
I like that.
Will allow us to be able to here's that phrase again, zoom out and see it from a proper scope, a proper perspective.
That's awesome.
Because if I zoom in on it just hurts a bit, or I don't want to acknowledge the full impact of this thing or that thing on my life, my psyche, my spiritual, whatever, then I may not heal it completely. I may heal a little piece of it. I may heal one trigger, but then I don't realize that this root goes way, way, way deeper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that, man.
So spending time, I've been doing a lot of reverse engineering in my life.
I love it.
I've been thinking a lot about, goals that I have, things that I want to achieve, things that I want to escape, things that I want to find, a lot of things. And most of them come along with a plan to reverse engineer it. So essentially what that looks like is, for example, let's say I want to heal from, I don't know, we'll throw something out there that's, universally relatable for most people. Let's say child abuse, being abused as a child. I wasn't abused as a child any more than anybody else was, but
it's in the Black community.
right. But let's say let's assume we're gonna talk about child abuse.
Sure.
If that's something that is a challenge for me, then I have to think about, number one, where that started. When did I begin to acknowledge what that really was? What was it that kept me all this time from acknowledging it? Was it intentional? What was the intent? What was the intent of, whatever my abuser's whatever behavior was? And then after going through all of that, plus a whole lot more in terms of just defining it, digging deep to find the bottom of that root.
Right.
Then the reverse engineering process begins. Okay, well, what steps can I take right at this moment? What is it? First of all, what does it look like when I'm healed? What do I look like? What do I feel like when I'm healed?
Wow.
Am I able to go around this abuser and be okay without being angry or being triggered or being this or that? Is that my goal?
Right.
Okay, if that's the goal, then what does it look like today?
Very good.
At the starting line to get to that place at the finish line.
Very good.
You know what I'm saying? And then literally thinking through what each of the steps may look like. Even if I only have one step right now, maybe I can come back in a week and say, okay, well, I realize that this is a proper first step, or it may not be, it may have to adjust. But if so, then okay, well, what's the second step? And then the third step, and then the fourth. Life is about, at least from what I found, I don't want to speak as an authority, but from what I found, life is about figuring out where I am, where I've been, and where I would like to be. And that includes things that I want to heal from. If it's something that was painful, I figure out where I am now with regard to that pain, that trauma, that scar, or that wound. And then I figure out where I've been, where I come from, where it has come from. And then I also think about where I would like for that to be at some point in the future.
For sure.
I like that, man.
And with being able to chart those things out, and I mean, for me, I already described earlier that it comes through writing for me. I'm able to be, completely honest with myself, as long as y'all don't break in my house and read my journals.
I know.
Right. I'm able to lay those things out, and I can plot a course from where I am to where I'd like to be.
That's awesome.
And I'm able to and this is not, I mean, it's simple, but it's not easy. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Like, it's a
makes a lot
simple
of
thing
sense,
to be able to sit down and just write my thoughts out and, try to plan a life. But it's not an easy thing, because it's not easy, to be honest.
Right.
It really is not.
It's not.
It's really hard to do, even with yourself, for whatever reason. But if you can get to that point, then, I mean, life unfolds in a way that, that we may not have seen before.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
I love that. You good. Because you're going back to the word that I used earlier was containment. You put containment in place.
Yes,
right?
literally.
As you put containment in place. And
Yep, raising awareness.
you raise that awareness. And I think it's important, man. I think that we have to have these conversations more, because the example that you talked about right there, somebody is going through that experience right now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like right now.
That's right.
I mean,
Right.
yep, right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now, so yeah, I think that's about it for me, man. And there was one more thought that I had, and it wasn't a long one. It was just more how to approach the situation about pain, how you deal with the pain. Oh, we are still here. This is another thing. I wanted to be sure and be very, very clear about this. If you are able to say that you've had any experience, where are you at currently? The number one thing is you're still alive.
Yeah.
That's important. Man.
Yes.
That means something.
Yes.
You're still here. If you're in the pain, you've just got out of the pain, you've recovered, you're restored, you're made whole, or are you still in the beginning process of pain? You're still here. There's a opportunity, not only for you, but people that are watching you. It's the peripherals too. That's another thing, is while you're going through, what is the image that you want to be at the end? Do you want to be an example, or do you want to be someone that looks in a non-ideal type of way, so to speak, right? Because there is a persona there, right? You do have to, there is a reputation that I believe that we all have to make sure that we address. Not to say that I'm building up my ego because everybody watching.
We got to do that word. We got to do reputation.
What's that? Reputation. You want to do that? Yeah. Let's do that next time.
That's good.
Okay.
Let's do that next time. Yeah. Well, I'm done. That's all I was going to say.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm good. I'm good, man. I think that this one was a very, very impactful episode, because when we talk about healing looks different in so many people's eyes, right, man? It's not a simple word, because there's a journey on that goes to healing. You know what I mean? And a lot of times people see healing, but like Gary said with his broken finger, it's not the same anymore. Right. You know, so we can easily say, man, I can't wait to this look this way again. Yeah, hey, you know, even Jacob, you know, he got his hip, you know, Jacob, you know, wrestling with the angel, right? They said that he walked around with a limp afterwards. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, it gave you a vision, Jacob, but you're gonna definitely walk around with a limp. So that's what I'm saying. After
pain changes you.
Yes, it does.
It does, man.
It changes you.
Yeah, it changes you, right? So
Even
what are
after
you
healing?
Yeah, that's exactly. Right. So I know somebody that got it. Man, okay, we're prolonging this episode, but some people that got into car accidents and one leg is shorter than the other now, and now they're walking around. Mike, you so silly, dude. I'm done. Hey,
that's a wrap.
Episode we're signing out. Mike is
episode 50 on the books.
You know, God bless you.
Y'all.
Please like, share, and subscribe.
It was the hand movements. He did like this.